Hello, and welcome to the show. This is Paranormally Speaking. I'm Cathryn Rogers, and I am, I hope to be only one of the hosts today. I'm hoping that we're going to be having a co-host join us in a few minutes, but unfortunately, Trevor and Lynda have plans for tonight. So I have my special guest here, Austin Maynard. How are you doing, Austin?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
We are so happy. Well, I'm so happy to have you on. I know Trevor and Lynda were excited to have you on as well. So I was reading your bio, and you have some pretty interesting things going on, but I want to talk about that in a minute. But first, we're going to do kind of the typical, let's see how did you get into the paranormal? I always love, here's the thing with me. I love origin stories. I want to know like where you came from, like what was your interest and your draw into the paranormal? Because, a lot of people, most people that we talk to, some can be pretty typical stories, right? But sometimes, it's just so fascinating, even if it is on the typical side of it. It's like your personal experience. And I'd love to hear how that started. So like, how old were you when you had the fascination or an interest in the paranormal? How did that start?
So I'm I guess I have a different kind of path because I've always had an interest in the paranormal, mostly like UFOs, aliens, and I love Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, right? Like all of those.
Right.
But I'll be honest, I was terrified of ghosts. I didn't even want to look at it. Like it scared the hell out of me. Sorry. But I didn't really get into the afterlife and all that stuff until I was 18. And the reason being is because I actually suffered a sudden cardiac arrest, lethal arrhythmia, when like 6 days after my 18th birthday, actually. So I was in a coma for 3 days.
Oh my God.
And I came back to, and so, but I don't remember anything. But a lot of people do remember their times, but I think I don't remember because when I fell, I hit the back of my head. And so I suffered from frontal lobe inhibition, short-term memory loss, and a severe concussion. So
that's terrifying.
Well, they said I was like 10-second Tom for a little while. If anybody's watched the movie 50 First Dates, oh man, like I had an IV in my arm. I was like so surprised.
I had a nephew that actually had a brain injury similar to that. And he could remember long-term things, but not short-term for quite a while. I don't know if yours was like that, but yeah.
Yes, I was able to remember long-term things, but I would say probably the first couple of weeks I had trouble with short-term. I was in the hospital for 11 days.
Right.
The first 3 days, of course, I was in a coma. But so like even I would say a couple weeks after I officially woke up, that's when I started being able to remember more short-term things. But I didn't really start diving into the paranormal until, I was probably 20, like when I started diving into the afterlife, just like watching the shows, right? Like that's all I really got into it. Hey,
I just wanted to bring on Mario for a second. Mario, thank you for joining us. We're so glad that you're able to join us as a co-host today. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit tardy. I was fighting the computers as always.
Oh, I'm glad you won.
Yeah.
We're just thrilled to have you here. So thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So go ahead. Sorry, Austin.
No. Where was I? So I was watching the shows like everybody else. I think that's kind of what really got me in. I mean, a lot of people have personal experiences in their childhood and growing up. Not me. Never had any of that. And to this day, I still don't really feel anything or see anything or anything like that. But I guess when I met my wife, we started diving, well, like actually going on ghost hunts. And I'll be honest, the first one I ever did was with Nick Groff after he left Ghost Adventures and
Okay.
started. He did this thing called the Nick Groff Tour, and one of the first events he did was at Bobby Mackey's Music World in Wilder, Kentucky, before it was torn down.
Yeah.
And that was my first ghost hunt, and I had an experience down in the basement. I actually was like, I feel like I was pushed from behind really forcefully. I remember that because I was up against the wall, and that was kind of my introduction. And so that's really what sparked it and kept it going. But my experience with the sudden cardiac arrest was kind of the driving force, because I ended up, I'm wondering, like, I was in a state where I was not like mentally or spiritually there, I guess you could say. My body was an empty vessel for so many days. And so where was I? What was I doing? Like, I have those kinds of thoughts. And so.
Right. Do you think that you've ever gotten any answers in regards to that?
No.
Okay.
Have you ever tried regression?
Explain a little bit.
So, like hypnotherapy, where they would regress you to that state to see where possibly you can recall where you were.
Oh, almost like hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
No, and the only reason that I have trouble with that, I have trouble with meditation, I have trouble with really calming my mind down. I'm always thinking at 1,000,000 miles a minute, and so I'm always thinking about different ideas. Like it's very, very hard for me to sit still and be calm. Yeah. Like my wife struggles with it too, or she like struggles with me because we have trouble watching movies or binge watching shows. She's like, you need to sit still and watch. Like, I can't. Sorry.
Yeah. I get that because I actually have a really good friend who's a hypnotist, and we've gone to his shows, and it's funny because I've brought my daughters before, or friends, and they're all like, even in the audience, they'll start getting hypnotized and doing, like he might say, play a flute, and I'm just like, what are you guys doing? Like, I don't get it. Like, I've never, I can't relax enough to get into that state whatsoever.
Right.
All over the place in my head. So.
Right. And I mean, I would love to, if I was able to do that, I'm sure I probably could if I trained myself, because I know people, they always say that you have to practice, you have to train it. And I just don't have the time to do that. Because I don't know, I feel like I'm always short of time. There's never enough time in the day, really.
Yeah. So here's a question. So when you started working with Nick, what were you doing for the show?
I was the paranormal tech manager right from the start. Yeah. But so I was only making the
devices and.
Yeah. I started on season 3. I was in only like 4 or 5 episodes, I think. But I just came in, I was setting up experiments and bringing different devices, and just more or less just to try new things. And like, I don't think we had really any expectations for results on a lot of the stuff that we did. We were just trying to try some different things, see what happens, see if it affects the environment, see if it, if anything, who knows? Why not? We got to try it, right? And so I think that kind of, I set up a few experiments for him before he brought me on. And I think that plus my connection and friendship with Dan Class, it just kind of helped put it all together. And plus the fact that Nick knew me from like 2016 or 20, like it was a long time. It was like 2015 or 2016 from the Bobby Mackey's thing. And actually we did another one at Ohio State Reformatory with him like 6 or 7 months later. So he remembered us from that too. And taking sports school. Like, I had met Nick and worked with Nick a number of times leading up to this. So there was that kind of trust and everything. So when I set up the couple of experiments he did before he brought me on, they had a little bit of success with them, and it was just kind of a cool, different approach to a lot of the stuff. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that was really the whole intent on the whole reason for bringing me on. Just add a little bit different flavor to it, I guess.
Okay.
You know, you probably should get Nick involved with WorldGate. Can you hear me okay?
Hmm?
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
you're a little quiet, Mario, but you're not too bad. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Would Nick ever come for WorldGate? Like the
So
Travelers?
what if I told you that Nick and Tessa already have?
Have I missed that? How have I missed that?
I don't know. It's Deathwalker season 4, episode 1.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take a look at that again. So what was their okay, without giving too much away, is it something that they would want to do again?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good. All right.
100%. I mean, I'll tell you what happened. I mean, it's out there on the episode. You can see it.
Yeah.
But essentially, we had built this box. I had built, me and my partner Eric built this box. Just a giant 5 foot tall by 4 foot box, wood. Spray painted it completely black. And so we brought this to Rolling Hills Asylum in New York. And I had set this box up on the 2nd floor, and it was on one of the spots in the Seba, which is the 5-point star that JW uses for the experiment. And so Nick was going to sit inside of that box in a chair with the headphones on, with cameras on him and all this stuff. And this was actually kind of the infancy days of the WorldGate. Like, this was really when we started doing some different kinds of experiments. But we had mirrors inside of that box too, like on all 4 sides. We had 2 scrying mirrors and 2 regular mirrors. So the whole idea, like, portal, right?
Right.
And Nick was saying that he was like seeing something in there, but then he went into a trance. And Tessa was all the way on the other side of the building. She was on she was in the surgical room, and she was laying on that operating table. And we had told her separate, her job was to go and find Nick and help guide him through to wherever whatever he was looking for, which apparently was there's this spirit there called the Screaming Lady at Rolling Hills, and he was trying to figure out who it was, or what, just find out about her. And so so what had happened was Nick said that he started when he went under, he said that he was in the first person view of somebody. And he said he was in the back of a car, like an old car. He said like it was like Prohibition, maybe a little later style car. And he was in the back, and he rolled up to Rolling Hills. He got out, looked back, and saw the car drive off. And like that from a first person perspective, and he didn't really know. All he knew was that he was scared. At some point in the middle of the experiments, I mean, obviously we're just sitting in the trailer with the cameras on him, and we can watch him live. And in the episode, you can see the camera, you can see us watching the cameras. He apparently all of a sudden wakes up in the middle of it, and he's saying something, but we can't hear what he's saying because we're watching from the their CCTV cameras. But then eventually he kind of goes back. Now remember that part. He goes back in, and then he says that he meets Tessa, or he sees Tessa, right? He finds her, and then they're holding hands, and they start walking down. I guess they're walking down a hallway, and then the experiment, like the frequency started to fade out, which is basically the callback for them. And one thing that they've said that they both experienced at the same time. Tessa claims that when they were coming back, she felt her arm physically lifting off of her hand, or off of her body. Now, we didn't see that on the cameras, but that's what she was feeling, she says. Nick, he says he was holding on to Tessa's hand for dear life and and he was pulling her, like trying But Tessa didn't know what was pulling her. She thought it was like something else, and so she snatched it away. And that's when she came back. And Nick said that like he couldn't hold on. She snatched it away, and then so going back to what I said earlier about Nick waking up in the middle. Apparently, what he said that I just felt a tap on my shoulder, or I felt a tap on my back. Tessa, in her exit interview, she said that she went and she found Nick in the box, and she got in the box and she put her hand on Nick's shoulder. And so we're like we're thinking about the timing, and obviously it's very hard for us to discern what time and like, you know, when the exact moment was, but we can somewhat correlate the idea that Tessa played, like this is what she said. She went and touched Nick on the shoulder while he was sitting in the box, and he physically reacted, woke up and said something touched me on the shoulder, and then went back under. And they talk about this whole experience in a lot more detail, like in the episode, which so everybody should go watch that. But yeah, it was a wild experience for them, and they would definitely do it again.
That is amazing. I'm wondering if the timing really to some degree matters, because I mean, when we talk about dimensions, I mean, not everything is going to be like completely on par. You know what I mean? There's probably going to be to some aspects a little bit of a delay in maybe, you know, so, but the fact that they're both having that experience is truly amazing.
Well, and we kind of run under the assumption that time and space, like it's completely irrelevant on that side or whatever, wherever they go. And so we just kind of, you know, we just assume that it happened in her experience. And at some point during Nick's ride, he reacted to something touching him on the shoulder. Exactly. So like we can kind of assume, but of course it is just an assumption. So, I mean, but I don't know, man. It's a kind of a crazy. It's
a fairly based assumption, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, Paranormal Brew. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. No, that's absolutely amazing. When you were with them, did you have other experiences for you personally?
Like you mean when we were filming at different locations?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There was one episode we shot at a place called the Pioneer House. It's in New York. I can't remember what city exactly. But I had set up an experiment where I had 5 full spectrum RF receivers, just kind of stationed in different places around the house, all wired back to a mixer that I had a base camp that I would just sit there and I could listen to all of them all at once and just listen to see if anything, because the idea was an open mic, like with a full spectrum RF receiver. There was no tuning involved. Just like, hey, if you want to come up and speak, go ahead, right?
For sure.
Well, so we were filming and I had the camera on me for quite a long time. But Nick and Justin had just come back down to grab new batteries for the camera, I think. And so we did end up shutting the camera off right next to me because, nothing had happened for like 2 hours. You're just sitting there. Right? Nick and Justin go back up the stairs, and all of a sudden, me and Dan will attest to this too. We were like, all of a sudden we heard this little girl laughing. Just like out of nowhere. It lasted like 2 seconds, and then it was quiet the rest of the night. Me and him looked at each other just because we never expected that. And of course, the camera was just turned off.
Yeah.
So that was frustrating. Man, we had, there was the one at the Genesis Inn. Or what is it? The Genesee Falls Inn. That's what it is. I know that we had set up microwave radar detectors up on the second floor of that, and we were getting.
What are those? I'm sorry.
Microwave radar detectors.
Okay, so what would those do? Kind of just so people have an idea.
Best way to describe it is land sonar.
Okay.
It's giving off high frequency, like 5.8 gigahertz microwave radio frequency, and then listening for the bounce back.
Okay.
Just,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But what it detects movement rather than just like stationary, because if you stand still in front of it, perfectly fine. It detects movement, like something that's you wave your hand or something, it'll start alarming.
Right.
We have those things up there. There was nobody upstairs. We were down on the main floor, way in the front of the building, and Nick and Justin were up on the first floor, not on the base floor, but like I guess it would be the second floor and then the third floor. Yeah, but they were on towards the front, but they kept hearing the alarms go off on the other side, and so I remember we had that experience. We shot an episode at Westwood where he actually let me investigate for a little bit. He like gave me the camera, let me go up there. And I had some footsteps run up on me in one of the rooms at the Westwood High School in Rudolph, Ohio. Yeah, I mean, those were a few.
What did you have come running up on you? I'm sorry, it was a spirit?
It was just something. I don't I don't really know, but I heard the footsteps like running. You know, you could hear him running up on me and getting louder and louder. So yeah, it sent my heart. Like, had my heart pounding real hard.
So let me ask, like, with your wife, so she's investigated with you a few times from the sounds of it. How like did you guys did you have to convince her into it, or was she like all for it, or did she have experiences before?
Oh yeah, she's a medium. Like she's
full,
but she has kind of backed away from it. I think it messes with her a little too much. And I think she gets bored with investigating too. So, it's fair. So, I mean, for a long time, me and her were investigating together, and she still comes out every now and then, of course.
Okay. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So before the show, you and I were talking about, you have something going on where it's a traveler's experience. Okay, I'm gonna try to say this correctly. An interdimensional communication, right?
Yeah, it's the WorldGate project. It's basically what we were talking about Nick and Tessa doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to explain that a little bit more, and how do people get involved, or if they can kind of give a little bit of a rundown?
Yeah, absolutely. So the IDC Institute is actually founded by Jay W Prather, and he's the one who founded IDC Devices and all of that. And he has theories that have to do a lot with photons and the spreading of information via photons, not just light, but photons in other forms too. And a lot of the theories that he came across ended up tying together with, he started looking into the frequencies, and he started looking into ancient frequencies, and why tribes would do what they did, like ritualistically, and why they would build, caverns and temples that resonated at certain frequencies, right?
For sure.
And he ended up building this system called the intercom system, which was actually a system that has one source going through all of the speakers, but the speakers have microphones that sloop the sound back. I know this is kind of random and all over the place, but it all makes sense to them.
Yeah.
Feeding back. Okay.
Yeah. And I know, Mario, you'll know too. So the intercom system is basically the source. It is the sound. It's the main unit of the entire set. It's the main system in the WorldGate project.
Okay.
And so he's expanded the intercom system throughout, and so now he's able to play a number of frequencies that can influence the environment, can manipulate the environment. And he called these catalyst frequencies. Now, the catalyst frequencies are they're the whole point of those is to try to have a similar effect to if you were to go into one of these resonating chambers or whatever, just the kind of effect that it would have on your body, and the possible ability to help you meditate. Because when you think about these ancient times, a lot of those caves and those chambers were used by shamans and people to try to communicate with the gods or their ancestors or whatever. And so he that right there is called the catalyst. And so that basically conditions the environment, right? So then we add in another element, okay? Because there's there's multiple elements to this. So actually put that one on the back burner. Put it off to the side here for now. So have you guys heard of, I'm sure many people have heard of the CIA leaked documents about the
Stargate?
The gateway process.
Oh yeah, gateway, okay.
Yeah.
The Monroe Institute.
Yeah, the Monroe Institute, the guy at the Monroe Institute developed the process, but then the CIA confiscated the documents and they conducted it while at the same time that they were doing the Stargate project and all that. So the whole idea behind that process is hemisync. That's kind of the main driving force behind it. It's basically binaural beats is one way that you could do it, but that is the process that he uses is binaural beats. But the whole thing is that you have to be using the binaural beats at a specific frequency. So binaural beats, for those who don't understand, it's the process of syncing the left and right side of your brain. And an easy way to explain it would be if I have one side at 5 hertz and another side at 15 hertz, then my brain is going to sync at 10 hertz. It's just like dividing it, taking the middle. So it's kind of balancing itself out, right?
Right.
And that syncs the left and right side of your brain, which, according to the Monroe Institute, allows the participant to travel or to astral project, remote view. And these are the studies and the kind of experiments that they did. So now bring back in this catalyst experiment, right? JW is taking he's using specific frequencies to do the hemisync, and it's not 5 and 15, that's just an example. He's using very specific ones. And it's allowing the participant to get into the meditative mindset and completely clear their mind, and the catalyst frequencies allow that to happen with the body. And so it kind of syncs it all together and allows the person to astral project or to remote view or and there's different experiments that we run. There's one that he calls the Peregrine experience, which is kind of the basis for the WorldGate, which is where the participants, when they go under, they are allowed to just go however far they can go, wherever they want to go. I mean, like there's no limit. And the JW has the frequency set so that they are always physically tied, or they're always tied to their body.
Like
so
tethered.
They're tethered.
Like that silver
Yes.
ethereal cord or something.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And so he has it in the frequency set up that way, I guess. And so they can go wherever. But with the WorldGate, we add in kind of almost instructions. Like the participants are given instructions. They have intent when they're going in there. And it's like they all have to open up a door together. And it's a whole coordinated thing in this sacred geometrical 5-point star called the Seba. And while all this is happening, like each of these they're in the 5-point, and there's one person in the center who is the key, I guess is the key. They're the key to open the door. And the WorldGate is that portal opening in theory.
Yeah.
But And so that's just the one. But then there's also the just the normal. We don't want to call it the WorldGate. We just call it the HyperRealm. That's what it's called. The HyperRealm is supposed to be a more localized version of that. So the participants aren't going all over the place. They're not trying to open a door. This is more what you would, a similar visual would be if anybody's seen the movie Insidious, when they go into the further and so they're like they can still go in the house, but they're just on the other side, right? Like that's kind of a similar comparison, except maybe not terrifying like the way that it is in that one. Because people have claimed to not like have had positive experiences. Some people have had some negative ones, but we're still trying to figure out where the correlation is, right?
So there's actually an interesting connection to what you're describing and to what the CIA did to conduct communication with said other beings, right? This recently came out in the files that they were using occult symbolism and shamanism to open portals to bring in other beings. Allegedly.
I'm just gonna say though that what the CIA was doing, they don't got nothing on what we're doing.
Well, this is what I was gonna say. Yeah. Have you ever felt like your work is being monitored in any way, whether it's piqued their interest once more? Because I doubt that they just gave it up. They may have said they have, but
yeah. But if they can sit back and let somebody else figure it out too, why not, right? To some degree.
Yeah, the only problem with doing that though would be that it would get out into the public when they would not want it to get out into the public, right? Yeah, I mean JW worries about that a lot more than I do. I mean, especially because JW is ex-military, so he is a veteran. He has been in special forces too, so it's not like he's got special different certifications and classifications. And so, he's always concerned about that. I'm less concerned about it because I don't know, what are they going to do? I mean, if they come and, I guess if I don't think it's going to happen to me. Who are we? Right? Like, and honestly, I don't think that we have we certainly don't have the money or the funding to actually go anywhere. We're just kind of improving the system one piece at each time we do it, we improve something. So we're trying to, just mainly because our funding is strictly from our participants, because like that's the only way we're able to do it.
Say it was a complete success in your eyes. I mean, it sounds pretty impressive already, but if you felt like you had done the eureka moment and you got the control that you're wanting to strive for, where you could just send people off to these locations whilst being present as well, they would be very interested in either keeping that sort of quiet from other foreign entities coming to you in that regard.
I'm sure that they're paying attention. At least somebody might be. I don't think that they have a whole lot of concern yet, but because I don't think that they would. We haven't really we've found interesting things. A lot of it is synchronicities. I mean, we have, I'm not going to lie to you. It gets to the point where it's so ridiculous that I don't even believe it anymore. Where synchronicities are just coming in that even tie back 20 years before any of us, it just like all starts to make sense for some of the participants and for JW and for myself. And it gets to the point like where we feel like, we're either supposed to be doing this or we are not supposed to be doing this, one or the other. And the universe, I don't know if it's trying to tell us or if it's, I don't know. I think that
synchronicity for the most part is usually on the positive side of the spiritual realm. So I would say that if a lot of synchronicities are coming through, then you're being led to where you are supposed to be doing what you do.
It's like
I'm just going to throw that out there.
Right. However, JW experiences an insane amount of sabotage somehow, some way, like every time he's on his way to go do it. And this is to the point where, so for instance, when we were about to do it with Nick and Tess at Rolling Hills, JW is traveling from Maine. He's got his truck and his trailer.
Right.
Not really a whole lot of issues normally, but his truck was overheating the entire way. He ended up having to just drive 50 miles an hour and slowly, but then halfway through the wheel bearings on his trailers, axles, broke. And so he was
come on,
very, very calm. He gets to he gets to Rolling Hills. We able to do it. On the way back, not a single problem.
Yeah.
Not one.
Now,
that's just the one. That's just the one.
I'm going to bring something up though. This is just a thought. And you can obviously debate it with me because I'd love that. But so it in regards to that, there are going to be beings that obviously don't want some sort of discovery in whatever it is that's happening. And so what I'm thinking is, what I'm feeling is, it very much could stem from that too, is because, it's sort of like, and your wife may have experienced this, but I know that as a medium myself, there have been times where I'm just blocked. Like I am 100% blocked from something that is happening that I know that I'm not supposed to go there. I could push that button and I could probably push through whatever veil or wall or blockage that's happening. But at the same degree, I know internally that, like, I actually even get chills talking about it. It's like, no, that is not what I'm supposed to do. And I have to obey whatever spiritual guardian is with that, right? But at
my
the
wife
same
just popped out and said, yeah, she experiences that. So
right, yeah. So because like when I started my mediumship, started with the paranormal. I didn't get to experience Aunt Betty or Grandma whatever. Mine was thrown right into like the thick realm of the paranormal. That's how I started, right? And there was some crazy shit that you see right away. And so of course when you're seeing all of this crazy shit, you're like, oh, I should probably follow this, or maybe I want to experiment it a little bit more. But I really listened in here and I was like, I'm not supposed to go there. I know that this is a no-no, right? And yeah, and I'm kind of feeling like, but at the same degree, I feel like maybe with him, there was things that really didn't want him or tried to prevent him from digging in to where it was that you guys were, or like being able to show something, but not that these entities were of the most positive. These were probably more on the negative that were holding him back. That's what I feel.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at too. We genuinely believe that's why we wonder. Actually, is like, should we be doing this or should we not? I think that we should be doing it.
Yeah.
But
if they're trying to prevent you from doing it, that means that there's something that they don't want you to see, right? The only thing I would suggest is to put a protection around, some sort of spiritual protection when he ventures out, like whatever that is for him at that time.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope. I could try to convince him to do that, but he's a stubborn old man, and I'll do my best, but he's like, I don't need that. I'm getting on the road right now, But no, I do believe that is exactly what's going on. He believes that's exactly what's going on, but we don't know if it's necessarily like the universe is doing it, or like you said, something that is trying to prevent us, like an entity.
It's interesting. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. But I feel like, I feel like with events that have been spiritually happening, around us, I kind of feel like the universe wants us to explore it a little bit more, and especially like more of a God energy, however you want to put that into whatever wording or energy that is for, each individual person. Some people are going to
Yeah.
call it the universe, God energy, Jesus, you know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever it is that they use to describe it. And I feel like the universe is opening up, or God energy is opening up for us to take, more leaps and bounds towards it in more of a belief and trust and faith aspect. And so if you are being like, here's the thing, all of the things that you guys are doing and all of the knowledge that you've received in some way, like being able to put all of this together, that just doesn't come from like blah blah, you know what I mean? That's something that came to you for a reason, that came to you from source.
Do you ever feel like that is like these things do just pop into your head as opposed to it's something you've read out of a book?
Well, I'll be honest, it's JW that has come up with all of this, and I'm just kind of not really riding the coattails. I do genuinely believe what we're doing, and each time I'm more or less helping him to continue growing it and taking it to the next level. But he is the driving mind, he's the creator. So I mean, I do know that he constantly is doing research on various things. Like he recently found out about the Akashic record, and so now he did a lot of digging into that. He's been he just frequently is doing these digging into all kinds of crazy stuff, and an idea will pop into his head that he thinks, especially if it ties into the theories that he has with regards to photons and the spread and the sharing of information, universal consciousness, all of that ties into this. And that's why the sacred geometry is important. He actually bases all of it on sidereal time. So he's using the time of the cosmos, not Earth time, right? And a lot of it, planetary alignments, the numerology, another thing that he uses. Like there's a lot of math and numbers involved, and he actually does part of the where how he determines spots, determines like where each person will go and how to run the experiments. A lot of that, the numbers will be like he'll get the numbers, and then the rest of it is a gut feeling for him. Like, okay, I believe this person fits best here. And he's been wrong before, and he admits when he's like, yeah, that probably wasn't the bet. But there have been a number of instances where we have had some insane results, or we've had something really crazy happen that, I mean, just speechless at times. So
tell us what that was. Can you tell us?
yeah, sure. So we have a couple of one participant. Her name is Kayla, and she definitely has abilities, although she's not really she doesn't practice as a medium, I guess. And we put her under by herself, although she didn't know that she was going under by herself. Right. And but we also were going to run a side experiment where I actually, after she went and laid down in the cot and she was getting all of her stuff on, I was outside in the garage. I was picking out 3 random items. Well, actually, I picked out 2. I had a rusty house key. I took a piece of paper and I wrote a word on it. And then JW had a little vial of Conjuring House well water, like well water from the Conjuring House. And so he asked me to go in there and place these 3 items around the house, and then go instruct Kayla to see if she can identify the 3 items.
Right.
And so right before she put her soundproof headphones on, I go to her and I tell her, hey, I've placed 3 items around the house. I need you to tell me what this item is, what this item is, and what the word that I wrote on the piece of paper. Okay. And so she well, I didn't tell her that I wrote a word on a piece of paper. I said that there is another item in this spot, right? And I just need you to tell me what it is.
Right.
And so when she did the experiment, she came back and she was able to say in her exit interview, she said, I saw a key, a rusty old key up in the bedroom. There's a piece of paper on a cot in this room, and so in the main parlor room behind a mask on the mantle there is like a glowing cylinder, but I can't see what it is because it's behind the mask, but I can see that it's a cylinder, but so.
Yeah.
And she said she couldn't move the mask to see what it was.
Right.
So she got all 3 items correct. And actually
what was the word on the paper?
Oh, I can't even remember. It was something silly. It was like I don't even remember what the word was, but it was something that like you couldn't just guess. Something that she would have never thought of, but I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But yeah, I mean that was something that was just mind blowing. She was able to correctly identify the 3 items, and I didn't tell her what those items were. I just told her where they were.
Yeah.
So, but there's, we've also found instances where 2 of our participants have encountered each other.
Oh, okay.
Sort of similar to Nick and Tessa.
Similar to Nick and Tessa, yes. But Nick and Tessa actually interacted. These 2, the other participants, we've actually had multiple instances of this where they've seen the other participants in the same experiment, just weren't able to communicate directly or something. And so, like, these are instances, like things that we found that at least give us reason to believe that there's a shared reality or a shared realm of some sort that is not other than the one that we live in. And so now that we have that kind of, we're going to go down that route now. And in this, now we can experiment deeper with, can they see what's happening in the physical world while they're on the other side, because obviously we have reason to believe that they can, because Kayla was able to do her thing, which in a sense you could consider remote viewing. But we can also try to see if they can eventually figure out what, like, words on the paper. She said she couldn't even see a word on the piece of paper. She just said she saw a blank piece of paper. Okay. And so but one of my things that I really want to test out is, can they interact with us from that side? Like, could I set a REM pod somewhere, and could they go over and set the REM pod off during their
So with the other one of the other co-hosts that we have on here, Trevor. So we actually did a similar experiment like that, and he's in Idaho, and with Western Idaho Paranormal, and we did something very similar to that, because I do have the ability. I haven't done it in a while, but I do have the ability to be able to, I guess, astral travel, I suppose it is, but it's more a remote viewing, I think, and not in the actual remote viewing where, they pull a paper out and it's like, this picture or anything like mine is more like
first person.
I do a lot of paranormal, like I help out a lot of paranormal teams remotely. I can go to that place and kind of take a look around. Okay. So
on that sense, now, are you just viewing it from a first person perspective? Like you're just showing images of different areas, or are you actually like there walking around so that's more astral.
Yeah.
That's more astral travel.
Okay. And so for the most part, I'm able to, I'm able to walk around, and I might not be able to, see everything that's in the home, but I'll see like the significant things, you know what I mean? Might see a cookie jar, but I might not see what's beside the cookie jar. It varies, you know what I'm saying? But usually I can go and look for the entity that I'm looking for, right? So that I have a general idea, so I can interact, but I'm interacting with it from a safe perspective, because it's there and here. That's the way I like to have it.
Exactly.
But we did do a similar experiment like that, and I went to Trevor's, and it was interesting because there was one window that I was like, there's something around here, and I don't know, it feels like there's like a really weird vibration. I was like, what is it? And it turned out he actually had an animal carcass on the other side. Like it would have been outside on the ground. So it was some sort of like animal carcass that they had, shot a deer, and there was some bones there. And so, but I was picking up on a vibration of it. You know what I mean? I couldn't quite figure out exactly what it was, but there was different things. But we did try with the REM pod, and unfortunately I could not get the REM pod. But if you guys do that, that would be freaking amazing. I did try to interact with the REM pod, because I could like visually see it, like when I was in the home, right?
Yeah.
But I was not able to get it to interact, which was kind of upsetting for me because I was really hoping, that I could. But yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you, and this is one thing that we did learn with the last one, that the catalyst is 100% necessary in order for us to be able to, for our participants to travel or do anything. Granted, you have abilities that most of our participants, they don't have. So you actually have the ability to travel and do all that without the frequencies and without the help of all that. Like for instance, Tessa is also able to do it without the aid, but she said that having all of that actually helped her and made it way easier for her to do it.
I've done the white noise experience, like the white noise, and it has significantly helped in some aspects.
Oh man, like, but that catalyst, the physical effect that it has on the environment, and it has on your body, because you feel it when you're walking around. While those we have two 250 watt PA speakers. We actually have three, like total, that are in a triangle facing each other to create it's the portal. It's the gateway, right?
Yeah.
And so like these frequencies are blasting, and you feel it, like it.
I really can imagine.
So yeah, I feel bad for the person in spot number 6 every single time, because it's like they're just getting
yeah.
they're getting the worst of it.
Has JW sorry. I was just going to ask, has JW looked into Royal Raymond Rife and his frequency work? It was more for medicine.
I know the Rife machines. I've seen those. I haven't. I don't know if he has. I know that a lot of there's like he does include the Salvagio frequencies within these things. He also includes there's a couple of other ones that he uses that aren't necessarily the Salvagio frequencies, but they are included in they have different effects, I guess. And I don't know them off the top of my head, to be honest with you, but yeah, I know that there's a lot of different frequencies that he's played with. I don't know exactly if he's looked into Rife's work, but I've seen I've looked into the Rife machines, and a lot of it, it's like radionics.
There's a group here in town. Lynda, actually, the other host, the usual host, she partook in doing a session with them, so she'd be able to tell you more about it. But yeah, I think it's quite interesting as well.
So radionics is so fascinating, man. And I know like radionics is kind of a more broad term for Rife machine is more specific, more focused, I guess. But radionics in general is just so fascinating, because the application of sound frequencies at any kind of level can definitely have all kinds of healing effects. It can have detrimental effects to you. There's the frequency that will make you crap yourself.
What is is that's not a machine? Like I know that there is some sort of
radionics machine.
All wrong, but it's a machine where you kind of I know that some people can put like a spot of blood. You know what I mean? Like they'll use it, and then basically the machine itself will work with frequency or something, and this is actually supposed to help heal the person or heal the body?
Well, with radionics, like the radionics machines, and a lot of people build them and put them on Etsy or, you know, various places like that. But the radionics machines, the whole idea is that it has chambers for like your antenna, the amplification of the energy. And then there's also an intent chamber where you're supposed to, like, basically whatever you're trying to do, what your intent is, the machine is basically broadcasting that intent through the Schumann waves. So it's like basically it's almost like transmitting it and imprinting it into the Earth's resonance.
Sort of like super manifestation.
That's what a radionics machine is.
Okay.
It's a manifestation machine. And so, you know, make of it, you know, people take it and look at it different ways. I think that that a person's intent, the intentional energy, that everything that we do, all of the thoughts, all of our emotions, everything that we speak, it all puts off frequencies into the atmosphere in one way or another. Yeah. And so I think radionics is essentially just a process of trying to harness that and focus it into, there's a lot of people use it for healing as well. The originally radionics was supposed to be about healing. Although the original radionics practice was kind of like, I don't know, it was more like, I'm sure Mario, I don't know if you've done any research on it, but it's kind of weird.
I'm still new to it. I'm looking into it though.
Well, it's basically like, the funny thing is that, like, the way that he used to do it he would rub his finger across like a rubber pad and listen for variations within, like, it's super weird. I mean, there's videos of him operating it.
Sounds like he had a bit of a silicone fetish there, you know.
Well, I mean, you could look at it like that for sure, but I think it was just all based on feel. And so it really, it was not meant to be used for diagnoses. That's what he wanted it to be, but it just never was good for diagnosing anything. But when it comes to focus, like when we're talking about focusing frequencies to like that, all is what modern radionics is now. And so, but yeah, the same principle of focusing frequencies to help heal the body, it can be applied to the universe. And something that I am learning more and more, and I'm starting to realize that our words actually do affect our physical environment. Absolutely. Like, what you put out there is what it's going to be. So
I'll tell you something. You know what? You want to hear really, it's kind of a morbid story, but it's a
okay.
But I'll tell you something. It actually taught my son something, and in a really sad, pathetic way. Like, it's a really devastating story, but it really gets that point across. You know, because as you know, when kids are kids, they kind of say the stupidest things. You know what I mean? Right. They're kids, right, or teenagers. Yeah. And he had a really good friend that would always say, "Oh, I'm probably going to die young. I'm not going to make it till 20. Blah blah blah." 16 years old, car crash, dead. That was his best friend. And I tell you, my son always, he said, I like that instantly changed his perspective on what it is that you're speaking out there. And, you know, even me, if I don't get like into that energy ever, but even if I get a little bit kind of negative in the vocal, you know what I mean? Like,
thing you say,
he's like,
yeah.
Yeah, because you know, things like that, absolutely. Like one thing I was grateful about was the fact that it was young, you know, like he learned this young. It was just sad how he learned it because it was extremely devastating.
Right.
His best friend, right? So, you know, but it was definitely something that it's to be aware of, right?
Yeah, and everybody should be aware of it. Although a lot of people tend to obviously, it's hard for anybody to really comprehend around the idea, like, because we all think, oh yeah, no way, that's a bunch of bullshit, right? But you know, the more I've realized it and the more I practiced it, the more I've kind of started seeing the effects of it. And it is just as simple as, you know, oh, this sucks, everything sucks. then everything in your life is actually going to suck. And you could call it an effect of quantum physics. You could call it an effect of the spiritual realm. It genuinely does.
You call it vibration, like you're sending out a vibration, right?
And so, like with those radionics machines, if your intent is to, sabotage something, I mean, if you have a bad intention, then it will, it's like voodoo is an earlier form of it. That's it's just different. The machine is more or less now just transmits it into the human resonance, which is just the Earth's natural vibration.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
it's interesting too, because a lot of people, people have different ways of doing whatever it is in regards to manifestation. A lot of people, like we hear people using the vision boards and stuff like that. And some people, they try the vision boards and it never doesn't go anywhere for it, whatever it is. But, there's just so many ways. And I think that is the main thing is like, definitely it's like the grounding, sending out a particular vibration, whether you have to do it mechanically or through a machine, or whether you are able to resonate it from within yourself. However, you can make it happen, right? People, I think it's a really good reminder that we are kind of the creators of our own realm.
We are the creators of our own universe. We are the drivers of our own reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. How do people get in touch with you, or how do they check out more about this experiment?
So if anybody, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I'm my first last name's on it, Facebook. You can also check out the locations that we run under the Underground Paranormal Network. With the Institute, just go to idc-institute.net. That's where you can find information on all of the experiments. We got 2 upcoming. We got one coming up June 6th through the 12th. Or 7th through 12th at the Shanley Hotel. And then in September, we're doing the Haunted Western Block in Niagara Falls, New York. And both of those, all the information, if it's not up there yet, reach out to me. I can direct you to JW. But that's basically where we can find everything.
This is where we should have someone on the other side of the falls, and then you send your team out to go find us.
Maybe we could do. I don't know. I'll talk to JW. We got so many experiments in mind, man. I don't know if we'll have enough time to do them all, but
that sounds actually like a lot of fun. I just want to thank you so much for being on the show with us, Austin. It was a pleasure. We would love to have you on again, hopefully, and don't go away once we go off. Just stay on the thing. Mario, thank you so much for being my co-host today.
Yeah, no worries.
And thanks everybody for watching. We truly appreciate it, and we will see you next week. Have an amazing week, and we'll see you soon.